Hi everybody, welcome to the Emergence of Magic live stream. Let me know if you can't hear me or if anything's wrong. I'm going to set this game up while I answer any questions that are coming in here. I've already got my sheet out, ready to go. Oh, I have multiple bags of these potions, I don't need that. So, setting up Merchants of Magic is pretty easy. First, you're going to make sure you have all your potion tokens in reach of all players. You're going to make sure you have your dice. You have 4 colors within your easy reach of all players. So we'll set those out there. There's some cards we'll have to sort through in a second. I'll switch over for that. Your pencils in here, but I like pens better, so I'm going to use a pen. And I'm going to be playing the solo variant. So I've got the rule book in front of me, just because I'm a little rusty on that particular thing. And I think I'm going to switch over so everyone can see the game. For those of you unfamiliar, Merchants of Magic is a roll and write set in the Set a Watch universe. Hopefully the camera adjusts. It seems like we're getting a lot of light on here. What can I do about that? Well, we'll see. I'll do my best to bring it over away from the... I'm going to zoom in a little bit too. Yeah, that helps. There you go. Because a lot of this stuff you're not going to be able to see. You're just going to need to see my sheet mostly. Okay. All right, so Merchants of Magic, sorry about that, but make sure everyone has a good view of the game. Merchants of Magic is a roll and write set in the Set a Watch universe. Everyone should name their shop, obviously, so let's call this the AWSHUX shop. This pen's not working. Switch. Since we're doing this stream for the AWSHUX online convention, we'll call it the AWSHUX shop for our single player game here. So we've got our dice, we've got all of our potion tokens. So we need to go through the cards. So I'll actually hold these up. So we've got a bunch of item cards. They're all these things that you're going to craft in your shop. So that's the majority of the cards in the game in the deck. So we'll take all those together. And I'll shuffle those up. Completely missed. This is a brand new production, so these cards have never been used before, so I gotta give them a good shuffle. Because otherwise we'll just get all backpacks or all... I think all the stuff's clumped together. Say like the rings are together. So I'll work on shuffling that. Or we'll do some shuffling on the fly. One of the other things you do is you have these global objectives. You have 2 sets. You have sort of a research magic set and a crafting set. So you'll randomly pick one of these, and you'll set it to its 8-point side in a normal game. I believe in the single player you just set it to the 4-point, but I'll double check that. In the rulebook, I'm pretty sure that's right. Yep. Yep, you may only earn the apprentice side, the lower value of these global objectives. So they should be put in on the apprentice side, the lower point side. And then we're assigned, you may recognize these if you're familiar with our cooperative game Set a Watch. These are some of our adventures from the game, and you'll randomly get assigned one of them as your sponsored adventure for your shop. So we've got the wizard. All the other cards that we're not using of these are just set off to the side. We don't need them. So we're pretty much ready to go here with Merchants of Magic. I do need to, I'm just going to shuffle this a little bit more. So typically when you're playing with other people, you have, move this up a little bit. You'll have a few items in front of you and you'll be able to see the items in front of other people and it'll rotate around. Because those represent the customers you're trying to fulfill orders for your shop. They're the people coming in and out of your shop who are looking for your wares and things like that. Okay. So in a single player game, the different things for setup are, number one, we're going for a certain high score points. So if I score less than 60, I'm terrible. 60 is sort of the starting phase, and that's an apprentice, craftsman 70, merchants 80, and if I can break 90, I'm a master. Which, from my experience with this game, will not happen, but we can find out. So the big difference is that we have 4 order cards in front of us instead of just 3. So here we go. I'm gonna, if I get repeats like that, I'm gonna just assume it was a bad shuffle. See, look at those scrolls. So we'll make sure we get a nice variety. And I'll shuffle these other ones back in and keep shuffling the cards as I talk, so this deck's not so loaded. So in addition to these, we also have 2 orders that sort of represent who's coming into our shop. So I'll set off camera, but it's a Warhammer of the Dragons and a Shocking Sword. So I know that's sort of things that are entering my shop that I can work towards in the future. So a lot of the changes have to do with these orders. Normally you're just rotating around a table with all the other players. In a single player game, these cards will be discarded. Instead of rotating orders, all orders shift 1 space to the left, and the leftmost order is lost. A new face-up is ordered from the deck from the far right to the end of the line of orders. And then, of course, the other change is you can only earn the points on these apprentice sides, but otherwise the game's pretty much the same whether you're playing multiplayer or single player. This is definitely a game of managing your own shop. You can wait for a customer to get bored in another shop and enter your shop, but you're not actively stealing customers from other players yet. So we'll get into it. The game of Merchants of Magic is broke up into a couple phases. So the first phase is sort of the resource phase. These 4 dice, we have 1 of each sort of type. So we have a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12. And you can see these correspond to, I can use the D12 in any of these 3 columns. I can use the D6 in any of these 3 columns, and then the D8's here and the D10's here. So you can look at your sheet, and a lot of it's intuitive with how you fill it out. So you roll dice first, and we'll record those numbers. I like to record in order, so I got a 2, a 1, a 9, and a 4. And you can write those up here on your sheet, so you can keep track of when you use them. So I've got a 2, a 1, a 9, and a 4. And I apologize, my handwriting is not the best. So if you can't read my numbers or something, or luckily it's mostly just checking off boxes and filling in circles, so you're able to see that stuff easy enough. So now that we've rolled our dice and we know what resources are available, each of these dice represents sort of steel, wood, leather, elemental, arcane, and wild magic. And I'm going to be using these elements to, on my left side of my sheet, I'll be using the number that I've rolled or higher to fill in these bubbles to craft items. So if I fill this in, I'll be able to start making scrolls. If I fill in this bubble here, and if I fill everything in the line, I can start making scrolls. But in order to get this order, I need to make a scroll of the dragons. So I not only need to be able to make scrolls, I also need to be able to have the enchantment of the dragons, which is down here, and it's actually the hardest enchantment. In general, stuff is sort of easy and then progressively gets harder as you go down your sheet in each category. So the hardest enchantment is of the dragons. So this scroll of the dragons in one turn, it's not really possible to fulfill. So I'm going to move on to other items that I see. And you can see in the corner of these cards, the enchantments are sort of represented visually. So I have 2 divine cards here. So divine is something I may want to work towards, even though it is the most difficult prefix to a card. But typically in a game after we roll these resources, people act simultaneously and fill out their sheet. You get to use 2 dice from a round to fill in bubbles, meeting the requirements on the sheet. So I'll talk through. I've got Spear of the Dwarves, Warhammer of the Dragons, and Shocking Sword. And there's a lot of perks to your sponsored adventure wants 3 items from your shop as well. And fulfilling these orders and being able to make these items is actually quite beneficial to you, because as you complete your sponsored adventure things, I'm going to move this stuff up so you can just see the whole sheet. There's a sponsored adventure section on the bottom here. And as you complete their orders, any one of the 3 things, you gain benefits like gaining 3 potions or marking any circle regardless of number. So again, this would be simultaneous. Everyone would sort of tinker away in their shop, crafting items and researching spells. So we just sort of need to look at what we're looking at. So there is this Shocking Sword coming over to the side, and I do have Shocking with the Wizard. So I'm going to see if any of these numbers work with Shocking. The D10, I could use the D12, the 4 to mark this one, and the D8. So I can get Shocking. So let's get Shocking. I will circle my numbers over here. I'm going to use with the D12. In this line, you can see that there's a D10 and D12. And a 4 is less than a 7. So I'm going to just mark that circle with an X. And then I'm going to use the D8 over here and go down. That's less than a 2. And I'm going to mark this one. And now that I've completed this row, I'm going to score 2 points, 2 coins at the end of the game. So I can circle that too. And every time I complete a row, I take a potion. And I can use these potions to spend my dice, to pip up a dice I'm using, 1 or 2. I can also use these potions. I get 3 extra dice that I can use at any time, but I could also spend 2 potions to get a 4th extra dice and circle an additional number each round. So typically you only get to circle 2 things around. So technically my turn could be over, but I could check this and use an extra dice if I saw an advantage to using the 9 or the 2. The 2 is pretty bad on D6s because all the D6s are on the higher side, 3 or higher. So I definitely don't want to use that number. But this D10 9 could be used for something in this category. Like we could get bracers for 9. Or we could get a spear. We have a spear here. So that's an item we could go for. So let's get the spear. And I'm going to use that extra dice. I'm going to go early. And I'm going to use that 9. And I'll circle that spear. So I've scored 3 total points. And I get another potion. The potions come in 3 colors, but right now they're just used to give them different values, like chips if you need extra potions, or you can just play them all as ones, which is what I usually do because there's plenty. So at the end of the round, once everyone's spent and crafted and finished crafting, you will move the orders. So in the single player game, this order is just sort of lost, so I'll just discard it. Everything moves over 1. So this person looking for the Warhammer of the Dragons enters my shop. Shocking Sword's coming in next, and the next thing we have is Staff of the Dwarves. But in a multiplayer game, I would pass this. This person would move into the next person's store in sort of clockwise fashion. Once you move the orders, the last step of the phase is to just check these mastery cards. Because if you're playing a multiplayer game, the first person or the first people who get this, complete this in a round, the magician is marked 5 circles in the arcane energy column, would score 8 points and then flip it over. So anybody who got it in future rounds or later in the game would only get 4 points. But in the single player, you can only just get the 4 points for it. So I sort of need to worry about getting these eventually. And I'm working towards the leather artisan, which is checking 6 circles in this column here, leather. And magician is 5 circles in the arcane, which is the middle column on this part of the sheet. And let's just make sure my wizard is looking for a shocking ring. I do have shocking, but I need to get a ring, a crossbow, and Greaves. So I need to start working towards that stuff to activate these sponsored adventure abilities down here. But again, if anyone has any questions, I am glancing over at the chat occasionally. So if you have any questions, please put them there. Otherwise, I'm just going to try to demo the game and teach you as best I can in the single player mode. So you'll be ready to play either the single player or the multiplayer game when the game hits stores, shelves later this year, early next year. So I have to roll the dice because we're on to our next round. The game's played over 10 rounds, so you can see on my sheet the 10 rounds are marked up there. Okay, so dice-wise, we have a 3 on the d6, an 8, a 6, and a 12. That 12 is bad. It's on the dice we want to be low. So we're probably not going to get another enchantment. We have the spear. I'm going to check of the dwarves. Because we can maybe get... Alright, so I'm going to take the 6 on the d10 and mark of the dwarves, because 6 is less than 8. And I don't have it yet, but I'm working towards it. We have Staff of the Dwarves over here. And we have Shocking Sword. We can't get Shocking Sword. We can't... Can we get Staff? Let's get Staff. We'll use this 8 to get Staff. And that'll get us a potion. I'm going to take one of each color so you can see. We've got red, green, and purple. And I'm just going to use 2 dice this turn, so that round's over. This Divine Staff leaves. Everything moves over. And we are certainly nowhere close to these objectives up here. So I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to use it over here as the dice, because then you guys can see it. And 3. So we have a 3, 4, 6, and 3. And let's see here. If we could get of the dwarves, we can get that spear. So let's check. We can use this 3 on the d12 to get of the dwarves. Now, here's sort of a new rule we're passing through now. Because I have of the dwarves and the spears that I can make, I can fulfill this order. So I would take this card and I'll put it here. And then a new card is dealt face down in its spot. And it'll be flipped up at the end of the order phase. Okay, so that's 1. For my second dice, what should I do here? 6. Let's get the ring, or we can work towards the ring. We can use this 6 to get this spot of the ring. My wizard wants that. And sword is 4 or greater on the d6. Here, let's use an extra dice. We'll show this ability off, which is I can spend an extra dice, use up an extra dice, spend a potion to make the 3 on the d6 a 4 for the sake of fulfilling this sword order. And since I circle sword, I would just keep the potion. So now I have shocking sword as well. I can take this item. So now I'm starting to fill these orders that are coming into my shop. These customers are very happy. The AWSHUX shop is starting to do some decent business. And I've got a lot of weapons finished as well. I'm actually going to put a little dot next to Greaves, ring, and crossbow, because I know my wizard wants those things, so that'll help me remember to do those things while I'm streaming and doing everything else. So I use this 3. So that is my round. Divine Greaves leave the store. All this stuff moves over. The Staff of the Dwarves enters. We have an Everlasting Crossbow and a Fiery Greaves of the Orcs coming in later. I've got Greaves of the Elves popped up and Everlasting Backpack of the Dragon. So this of the Dragon stuff is just, whew, tough. Oh, I should say that obviously the goal, the game is played over 10 rounds. And obviously the goal of the game is to get the most points. And points / money are represented by these gold coins on these cards. So every card that I'm getting is worth the points shown. If I complete all this guy's orders, I'll get 4 points. And then I'm getting orders from everything I'm circling on my board as well. So the object is to be the most profitable Magic shop, you know, in the land after 10 rounds is done. So dice-wise, we have a 4, 4, 7, 7. We have of the Dwarves, and we have Staff, so we can score that. We planned ahead for that one. And see we have that there. Let's see if we can get Ring. Let's grab Ring, because we can sort of talk about some of the final rules. So we're going to use the 4 on the D6 to get that Ring, which is greater than a 2. And we've now completed the shocking ring here. So when I complete the first order for my sponsored adventure, because the wizard is a loyal customer of my shop, you gain 3 potions. So now I have 6 potions that I can use to start manipulating my dice. So you can see as the game goes on, while we're all using the same dice rolls, the way you can manipulate the dice and use them changes, and shops start diverging, of course. Okay. Backpack of the Dragons, Everlasting Crossbow. Crossbow is important to us, so let's take a look at crossbow. We need greater than a 9 on a D8, which means we're going to have to spend potions to get that one. And then we need a 6 or greater on a... Well, so we'll use the D10 to get that 6 or greater right now. And we'll use that one. We've used our 2. So I'll start working towards crossbow since it's coming into the shop soon. Plus, it helps us mark this leather spot for the leather artisan as well. So I think that's the round. Greaves will leave the shop. I'm trying to keep it moving here. So Fiery Staff. We don't have Fiery yet, but if we could get Fiery, that could be... We've got Fiery Grimoire coming in over here off the screen. That's one of the items that's going to enter my shop soon. So Fiery is now, and Everlasting is something we want to... Maybe we should start working towards. We're going to roll these dice. 1, 4, 0, which is a 10. So we have 1. The D6 is not being kind to me. 4, 10, and 1. That 1 on the D12 is really valuable. It could help us get of the dragons. We don't have Warhammer though, and we don't have Everlasting. We don't have Backpack, so getting these items before they leave is tough. We do have of the Orcs coming in over here, so I may use it for that. Yeah, so I hate using that one on Fiery. I mean, it's just so lame. So I'm going to use it on Of the Orcs. And we'll see if we can get... We should try to get Of the Orcs. We could get Of the Orcs, because we could use the 4 on the D8 to get Of the Orcs, which gets us a potion. But I'm very tempted to use an extra die here. To try and get one of these items here, because I need crossbow. Can't get crossbow. And we've got this D10's a 10. So yeah, let's take bracers. We'll spend that last free extra dice I have on this 10, and we'll get bracers, which will give me a potion. I can't finish any of these. I don't have a fiery staff. I don't have a crossbow and those dragon things. So that round is over, but we have these fiery Greaves of the Orcs and this fiery Grimoire coming in, which I'm going to start working to. And then we've got Divine Spear of the Elves is on deck next. And I don't think I've completed any of these. Leather is 5. I've got 4, or Leather's 6, and I have 4. And Magician is 5, and I only have 2 in that center column. So I haven't completed any of these. Let's roll those dice. And we are in round 6. So I'm humming right along in the single player game. We should finish right on time, which is nice. If you're planning other events in an online convention, luckily you don't have to walk to the event, so it's quick and easy to get to. I rolled a 3, 2, 2, 7. Man, that crossbow. So expensive. These are all very low on this side, so... And this one's high, so it's not going to be great what we can do here. Fiery. Let's use the 7 here. And we'll use this 2 here to get fiery. So now we have fiery staff. We have fiery and staff. I finish this. And we have fiery. We don't have Greaves, but we do have Of the Orcs. So we just need to work towards that Greaves. But that's my round. Those are the 2 dice I'm going to use. I'm not going to overthink it. There's Bracers of the Orcs. We can definitely make that. Divine Spear of the Elves is here. Greaves of the Dwarves is next. So we really need to work on those Greaves and some of these armor things. And if I roll poorly again, I may have to start using some potions to manipulate my dice more to get what I need. Okay. So we got, for round 7, we got a 2, a 5, a 10, and a 4. Okay. Everlasting Crossbow. We really need crossbow, which is so freaking hard to get. We have a 5 on a D8. You know what? We got to do it. We're going to use that 5 and spend 4 potions to make it a 9. To get that crossbow and take that back. Our second order for our wizards completed. When we complete our second order, we can mark any circle. So which circle should we mark? We need to work towards Greaves. Let's do the 7 on the Greaves right here. Because we've been rolling really poorly on the D6, and we would have to spend potions to get that anyway. Okay, that's going to be our mark the circle. Everlasting. Let's see if we can work towards Everlasting. We can use the 4 on the D12 to get this, 9 or under. And that's a 1, which we cannot get right now. We'll have one more turn to get it. We have Bracers of the Orcs. Bracers of the Orcs. I'm not even going to fill that because it would just get removed anyway. And I think, do I want to spend a potion to use an extra die? A 10. The other thing I should look at too is down here in the charm section, you've got Glamour Potion Supplier, and you can do Renowned Accessories, Weapon Prestige, or Elite Armor. So what I'll do is I'll actually segment these. I have a lot of weapons, so I may want to start working on Weapon Prestige because I'll get 2 extra gold for every weapon card that weapon order I've fulfilled. But again, with the dice I have, that is not going to happen this round. So let's move on to round number 8. This all moves. Here's the Divine Spear of the Elves. It's worth 6 gold. I do not have of the Elves and I do not have Divine. But I do have Spear. I can make spears, just this guy wants a very particular spear that I am not proficient in providing. Okay, let's roll these dice. All right, 5, 7. This was a 6. In case I didn't knock it over. 5, 7, 6, 5. Now I'm going to use this 5 on Weapon Prestige. I just talked about how many weapons I have. I'm going to start working towards that. We really need Greaves. We could use any 3 of these dice could match Greaves. And if we get that, we'll get this. So we're definitely going to do that. It's just a matter of which dice we use. That'll also finish Leather Artisan for us. And it'll get a Shocking Greaves, which lets us finish out our adventure and gain those coins for the end game. So the question is, what else would we want? Divine Spear of the Elves. What else do we have here? Greaves of the Dwarves we have. Shocking Grimoire of the Dragon and Fire Grimoire. So I think Grimoire is a thing we should look at finishing if we can. Okay, so we're going to use this 5 here on Grimoire. And then for Greaves, we're going to spend 2 potions to use an extra dice. And we'll use that, I guess we may as well use the 6. To finish that up. We get a potion. We have Greaves. So we have Fiery Greaves of the Orcs now, which I can take. That's armor, so I'll put in my armor pile. Sure. And we have Shocking Greaves, which lets us combo because we've completed this. So we've completed everything for our wizard. But I also get to mark any circle without spending a die. So Grimoire, I'll do this on Grimoire. Okay, I have a clear plan. My plan is to get Weapon Prestige and get Grimoire to get these Grimoires coming in. You know what I could do though? Here, I'm gonna mark this. This is a redo. Instead of marking any circle, I'm gonna mark Everlasting, which will give me a potion, because it'll score me this weapon, and it goes into my plan. Divine Ring. Do not have Divine, and I'm probably not going to get Divine. So Plate Armor of the Dragons. We had lots of the Dragons. If I could have gotten of the Dragons, that would have been very advantageous. I did get Leather Mastery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. 2, 3. So I don't have either of these still. I guess I can just wait till the end because I'm not competing with other people. I'm so used to checking it in the multiplayer game when you're playing against other people, because if you get it at the end of the round, you want to sort of lock it out and get double the points compared to everybody else. Okay, so I have a 1, 6, 7, 2. All right, so let's fix my error that I marked. So I'll use this D6 for this. So that I'm working towards the Grimoire officially now. I could get Grimoire. I'm getting greedy though. I also want this weapon prestige. I'm going to use this 2 to get weapon prestige. And then I'm going to spend 3 of these potions to use an extra dice. And use the 7 to get the Grimoire. So now I have Fiery Grimoire. All right. Final round, I think. Final round. I guess I don't have to deal out extra cards there. I hope I didn't screw up any of these rules for single player either. It's possible I did. The designer will definitely let me know if I did, I'm sure. So 3, 3, 4, 11. Final roll. 4 potions left. I could use 3 dice. It's a really bad roll. So the important thing I've learned here in the final round is to not waste your time filling rows that you can't complete, because you're not going to get any points for it. So I want to look at things with 2 or 3 things. Greaves of the Dwarves. We have Greaves and we have of the Dwarves. So I can score that. Shocking Grimoire of the Dragons. We have Shocking Grimoire. We do not have of the Dragons. To get that, I would have to use the D8, the D10, and the D12. These 2 would work. And to get this an 11 down to a 2, I would need to spend a lot more potions than I have. So that's not possible to get. I could probably get of the elves, but here, let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have finished this. At the end of the game. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 of the Magician. Could I get Elite Armor? That wouldn't help me. Of the Elves, 8 and 10. I could get that, but then I can't use my extra dice. I bet you I could. So what we'll do is, we'll do something boring. We'll use, I guess it doesn't matter if we get a backpack or a scroll. I'm a wizard, so I'm gonna get a scroll. I'm gonna spend the D6 here to get scroll for 1 point and a potion. Then I'm going to use this 4 on of the elves. I'm going to, and then I'm going to spend 4 to use an extra dice and spend 1 to change that 11 to a 10 and get that. And I end with 1 potion. That is the end of Merchants of Magic. So how do you end a game of Merchant of Magic? You add up your points. So I'm going to move up a little bit so you can just see my sheet a little bit more. So you have your spots down here that we're going to total up. First up is crafting. You just go down this column looking at everything that you've circled and add those numbers up. I've got 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18 points on crafting. And then material mastery is over here. It's these cards. Leather artisan. I need 6 circles in the leather material column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get those 4. Spell research, same thing, just add up this column. So you've got 2, 5, 8, 10, 13. I was not as strong on that side. Energy mastery marks 5 circles in arcane. I'm not sure if I got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did get it. Now that's worth 4 points. I got both of these, which is a rare for me. I actually am feeling pretty good about this. My overall performance, we'll see. Completed orders. These are where you take all your order cards, which I did quite well on, and we add up those points. So there's 10, there's 20, and here's 12. So that's 32. Sale bonus for each weapon. So take out. So I took out all my items that aren't weapons. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weapons. So I get 2 coins per weapon. So I get a sales bonus of 10. Sponsored adventure was 4. Total this up. Let's see here. This is 22. 22 plus 13 is 35. 39. 71. 81. 85. So I was a merchant. I did not get sort of the A+ ranking. I got the B+ ranking. But that's actually a pretty good score for me. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's Merchants of Magic. That's how you play. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here, I'll switch back over. That's Merchants of Magic. Thank you for watching. If you are watching through AWSHUX, we will be doing any questions and answers you have. Ask us anything in our Discord channel. After we sign off from this in a little bit, we'll be in there to answer any of your questions. A lot of these games, Merchants of Magic, Settle Watch Lords of the Coin, a lot of our games are on not only Tabletopia. There's a great Tabletopia of this, for example, which is, I know, free through AWSHUX, but we also have them on Tabletop Simulator as well. So if you're looking to give any of this stuff a try, you can certainly do that, and you can always come back to our booth. We'll be rerunning videos like this throughout the weekend, so you can watch and learn how to play the games and then play them right online, or just get ready for them when you get them in person. But other than that, thanks for watching. So hopefully AWSHUX is going well for you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed watching me perform pretty well at a game I'm not too great at. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Bye-bye.